Hello students. In today's class we are going to discuss about Raoult's law. For discussing Raoult's law, the first thing that you need to know is vapor pressure. Now what is vapor pressure? Vapor pressure of a liquid is the pressure exerted by the vapors in equilibrium with the liquid at a particular temperature. Now what does this mean? Suppose if I say we take a liquid, suppose a volatile liquid, and the most common example of a volatile liquid is water. Suppose if I say that we take water in a closed container and we fill it up to the half level, then what will happen? The empty space which is present above the water level will be slowly occupied by the vapors that are formed from the water. Now, a stage will come when the amount of liquid, that is water, that is getting converted into vapor will become same as the amount of vapor that is going back into the liquid state. So at this stage, we say that equilibrium has been achieved, right? So at this stage of equilibrium, the rate of vaporization of liquid water becomes equal to rate of condensation of the water vapors. So at this equilibrium stage, the vapors that are formed above the level of the liquid, they are going to strike against the walls of the container, and when they strike against the walls of the container, they are going to apply some amount of pressure, and this pressure is known as vapor pressure. Okay, so vapor pressure in short is the pressure that is exerted by the vapors which are formed from the liquid when the system has achieved equilibrium. Okay, so in this particular topic, that is Raoult's law, we will be considering the vapor pressure of liquid-liquid solutions. When I say liquid-liquid solutions, it means that the solute is also liquid and the solvent is also liquid here. So what is the statement? See here, Raoult's law states that for a solution of volatile liquids, the partial vapor pressure of each component in the solution is directly proportional to the mole fraction. Okay, so what does this mean? Suppose if I say that we have a solution that consists of two liquids, that is a binary solution. Suppose two liquids are present, liquid 1 and liquid 2. Then according to Raoult's law, the vapor pressure of liquid 1 will be proportional to the mole fraction of liquid 1 in solution, and vapor pressure of liquid 2 will be proportional to the mole fraction of liquid 2 in solution. So these are the proportionality relationship. Now we can write in the form of equality relationship. So what will this become? P1 becomes equal to P1 naught chi 1 and P2 becomes equal to P2 naught chi 2. Now what are P1 and P2? P1 naught and P2 naught here? These are the proportionality constants, and these P1 naught and P2 naught actually represents the partial pressure of the pure components 1 and 2. When I say partial pressure of the pure components, what does this mean? See here, what are P1 and P2? P1 and P2 are the partial pressures of the liquids 1 and 2 after they have formed the solution, right? So here we are talking about the pressures of the components in solution, and here we are talking about the pressures of the components when they have not been mixed, when they are alone present in a container. Suppose if I say that in a container we have taken only liquid 1, so at that stage what will be the pressure of liquid 1? It will be P1 naught. Similarly, if in the container we have taken only liquid 2, then what will be the pressure of liquid 2? It will be P2 naught, right? So these are the pressures of the pure components. And once they are mixed, the new partial pressures are represented as P1 and P2. Is it clear? So P1 and P2 are the partial pressures of components 1 and 2 in solution. P1 naught and P2 naught are the partial pressures of the pure components 1 and 2, and Chi1 and Chi2 are the mole fractions of 1 and 2 in the solution. Now, from Dalton's law, we know that the total pressure in a solution is equal to the sum of the partial pressures of the components present. So P total, suppose the total pressure is represented as P total and our components are 1 and 2, then P total will be equal to P1 plus P2. Now in place of P1 we can write P1 naught Chi1, and in place of P2 we can write P2 naught Chi2. This is from Raoult's law. Also, in place of Chi1, we can write 1 minus Chi2. I hope this is clear. Why have we written this? Because Chi1 plus Chi2, sum of mole fractions in a solution is always equal to 1. So, in place of Chi1, we can write 1 minus Chi2. So, P1 naught into 1 minus Chi2 plus P2 naught into Chi2. Rearrange this equation and you get this form. Clear? So what can we conclude from here? That P total, it can be related to the mole fraction of the component, and P total over the solution is also proportional to the mole fraction of the component. Right? So suppose you you all know y is equal to mx plus c equation, right? So this is the equation for straight line. So here if we are trying to draw a graph for this particular equation and we represent p total as y, so this is p total y. We consider chi2 as x, so this is of the form p total is equal to mx plus c. I'll tell you once again. Suppose we all know that the equation of the straight line is y is equal to mx plus c. So for this particular equation, if we compare with y is equal to mx plus c, what will happen? This becomes y. This is mx plus c. That means when we are trying to plot a graph between p total and chi2, the graph has to be a straight line. See here, this graph is the representation of Raoult's law. Follow this graph. What is happening here? We are plotting vapor pressure versus mole fraction. Start from the left hand side of the graph. Here, in this particular side, chi1 is equal to 1 and chi2 is equal to 0. That means what? Chi1 is equal to 1. That means here we have pure component 1. That means that there is no amount of component 2 present. As we move towards the right hand side, slowly chi2 becomes more and more. The component 2 becomes more and more in concentration, and there arrives a stage at the extreme right hand side where component 1 becomes 0 now and component 2 is equal to 1. Mole fraction becomes equal to 1. That means what? On the right hand side here we have the pure component 2. Now for pure component 1 the partial pressure is P1 naught, and for pure component 2 the partial pressure is P2 naught here. Now when we are adding chi2, or when we are adding the component 2 into component 1 now, when you move towards the right hand side we will get a straight line here. The pressure of the second component will keep on increasing linearly, and the pressure of the pure component, the pressure of component 1 will keep on decreasing linearly. Are you getting my point? See again, when we are moving from left to right, the pressure of component 2 is increasing linearly and the pressure of component 1 is decreasing linearly, right? So this increases so much that at this particular stage it becomes maximum. That means here we have only the pure component 2 and there is no amount of component 1 here. Similarly, if you see from this side also, as you are moving towards the left, the amount of chi1 is increasing and the amount of chi2 is decreasing. Therefore, P1 will show an increase linearly and P2 will show a decrease linearly. So is this clear, these two lines? Okay. Now for finding out the total pressure, you can easily see here the total pressure will be the sum of the pressures of first component and the second component at different points, and therefore we arrive at P total is equal to P1 plus P2. Okay, there is another type of question that is asked in Raoult's law, in which they ask you the composition in the vapor phase. Please remember, sometimes they ask you the mole fraction in solution phase. For that, what is the formula? P1 is equal to P1 not chi1. That particular chi represents the mole fraction in the solution phase. But if you are asked to find out the mole fractions of the components in vapor phase, then we can simply apply Dalton's law. And if you remember, what was Dalton's law? Another form of Dalton's law was that mole fraction of the component is equal to partial pressure of the component divided by the total pressure. So Y1 and Y2 here represents the mole fractions of the components when they are in the vapor phase, and chi1 and chi2 were the mole fractions of the components when they were present in the solution phase. Okay, so now that we have done two laws, first Raoult's law, P1 is equal to P1 not chi1, and we have Henry's law that we did before this. It is P1 is equal to Kh chi1. So if you are comparing these two, you can see that both the laws, they resemble each other. The only difference is that here the proportionality constant is Kh and here the proportionality constant is P1 naught. So we say that in the solution of a gas in liquid, when one of the component is so volatile that it can exist as a gas, then Raoult's law becomes a special case of Henry's law. So when you compare the two equations, we find that P1 naught and Kh are similar, and that is why Raoult's law is known as the special case of Henry's law. Okay, so now that we know how to find out the vapor pressure of liquid in liquid solutions, suppose I say that instead of taking a liquid in liquid, we take a solid in liquid now. Then what will happen to the total vapor pressure? See, initially what was happening when we were taking liquid in liquid, in that case, because liquids are volatile in nature, so the total pressure was the sum of the partial pressures of both the liquids. But now what is happening? We are taking solid in liquid. When we are taking solid in liquid, in this case, solid is not volatile and it will not contribute to the total vapor pressure. Why this happens? Because whenever a non-volatile solute, it can be anything, it can be a liquid also, but if it is non-volatile, solids in any case are non-volatile. So whenever a non-volatile solute is added, then the solute particles, they occupy some positions on the surface and therefore they affect evaporation, and hence the total vapor pressure decreases. You can see in this diagram, initially when we were taking pure solvent, which was a volatile solvent, then all the molecules of the solvent could go into the vapor phase. But here we have taken a non-volatile solute and a solvent, then in that case some of the molecules on the surface will be of the solute and some of the molecules on the surface will be of the solvent. Now, while evaporation, only the solvent molecules will be able to escape out and form vapors, whereas the solute molecules will not escape since they are non-volatile. Now, if we keep on adding more and more non-volatile solute, the vapor pressure will decrease even more since the number of molecules that goes into the vapor state will keep on decreasing. Now, what will happen to in case of solid in liquid, since the vapor pressure of the volatile component is only important for us, so in this case Raoult's law will be only applicable to the solvent. that is P1 is proportional to Chi1. So P1 is equal to P1 naught Chi1, whereas component 2, which is the solute, will not have any effect on the pressure. That is why the total pressure now will be equal to the pressure of the solvent only, and the solute will have no contribution. Therefore, when you see the graph here what is happening, vapor pressure versus mole fraction when we are plotting, then the vapor pressure of the pure solvent will be here, and we will just get one line, a linear graph here for the solvent, and the solute will have no contribution.